Hello again, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Vandalia By The Way. My name is Rich Hopkins. I'm the communications manager for the city. And on today's program, we've got exciting news from our Parks and Recreation Department where there's some changes headed to the Cassel Hills Swimming Pool. We've also got the latest information on an exciting farmers market coming to Vandalia this summer. But our first stop today is right here at Stone Quarry Crossing, where work is already underway on a massive food processing plant for the White Castle Hamburger Company. And as you can see from behind me, things are starting to look up.
Up is in the direction of this growing construction project. The White Castle plant is rising from the ground before our very eyes. Assistant City Manager Greg Shackelford says the project has been full steam ahead, even with some pretty lousy weather.
Even though the weather hasn't been real cooperative, compared to last year, it's been a lot wetter and a lot colder this time of year than it was. They're doing okay, and it's amazing how much they can actually do when the weather is below freezing.
That means the foundation was poured and the steel beams erected despite temperatures well below freezing. And now with spring upon us, this building will be on the fast track to completion.
It's going to be about 80,000 square feet. And they're going to employ initially, probably in the first year, between 60 and 100, and then that number will grow up to over 100 in 3 years. And we're hoping that potentially down the road they would build another facility about this size and be over 200 employees.
White Castle isn't the only company building in Vandalia these days. Shackelford says all-service plastic molding is also in the construction mode on a new addition to their Northwoods Business Park operation.
It's about a 60,000 square foot expansion, and I'd say they're about 50% of the way done on that, and that's going to enable them to hire another 50 plus employees over and above the 275 that they had committed to Vandalia already.
And on Vandalia's southern edge, Encon is wrapping up a construction project that's also bringing jobs to town.
They still have a couple more equipment lines that they might put in, but all told they're going to have probably between 45 to 60 employees there within the next 6 months or a year, in addition to what they have already.
Shackelford was one of a number of Vandalia City staff who participated in the Vandalia Butler High School Youth and Government Day held last month. Now, the project gives kids a counterpart within the city, the township, or the school district to follow for a day to learn what types of jobs may be available in the public service sector. Even the communication manager had a job shadow. High school senior Emma Toe worked in my office and even took a crack at getting in front of the camera for this story on the event. Unfortunately, with yours truly running the camera and microphone, the audio portion was a little rough. So, Emma, take it away.
Thanks. We're here today at the Vandalia Municipal Building where my classmates and I are learning how city government works.
Kids spent the first part of the day in a Vandalia staff meeting, observing as city leaders reported on their departments. Then the kids took over and reviewed an agenda for a mock city council meeting. Later, those high schoolers conducted the council meeting with special guests like Mayor Arlene Setzer playing the role of a concerned citizen. Afterwards, a luncheon was held so kids from each of the participating sites could sit and compare notes. High school senior Brianna Allen shadowed Greg Shackelford. She said she enjoyed the day's events.
I did. It wasn't as straightforward as I thought someone that worked for the government would be. Like, I figured it'd be strict by law, no messing around. But it was actually pretty fun. Like, I could actually see myself, like, actually potentially being in this job one day if I wanted to, because it's not something that's boring. It's actually something pretty interesting because it's what to do with my community.
Brianna also had an opportunity to talk with Shackelford about all of the economic development coming to Vandalia. She says the city's development efforts are impressive.
The new companies that are landing here and starting here, because it is such a great place, I just didn't really realize how potential of a place Vandalia is.
And while city leaders hope their development efforts continue to catch fire, Vandalia's fire prevention officer says her job is to reduce the potential for backyard burns to become something bigger. That's why the Division of Fire is reminding residents that burn permits are required for many types of recreational fires. Kim Hanahan says there are many different types of fires.
Well, there's a bonfire, which is typically a ceremonial fire. So that fire is going to be 5 foot by 5 foot by 5 foot. maximum height, and that is going to be associated with like the Vandalia Butler homecoming or the VFW doing their flag burning ceremony. It is a ceremonial fire only. A recreational fire is going to be a cooking fire. So it's going to be when you want to roast your marshmallows or your hot dogs or make the s'mores. For those dimensions, those are going to be 3 foot by 3 foot by 3 foot. And if you're doing it in an approved container like you would purchase at Lowe's or Menards or some Home Depot type store, then that does not require a permit. However, if you decide to dig out a pit in your yard or you make a homegrown version, even with the paver blocks, that does require a permit. Then there's also an open burn, and that's where you just want to burn like your leaves or your trash or your brush that you cleared out from the winter, and those are not permitted.
And while we're talking about fires, Hanahan says you should only use dry, seasoned wood for your fires. No green branches or leaves and no trash. And on those hot ozone action days, residents are not permitted to burn anything. Also, be sure that your fire is a safe distance, at least 10 feet from any combustibles like overhanging branches, and be a good distance from any existing structures. And as important as it is to know what to burn, Hanahan says it's even more important to have the means necessary to put that fire out.
So whether it's a bucket of sand, a bucket of water, a fire extinguisher, a garden hose, you want to have some means to be able to put it out or smother the fire in the event that it does get out of control. And of course, the emergency number is 911 if things do get out of hand.
So if you know the safety rules, you might be asking, why is a permit even necessary?
We like to have burns or burn permits so that we can keep a track of where the fires are in the city limits. And that gets fire equipment not on the road unnecessarily, because a neighbor will call invariably because they smell smoke in the area. And then we've got a lot of equipment going trying to track down where this fire is.
Hanahan says getting a permit is easy to do, and best of all, it's free.
So all you have to do is call or stop by the Vandalia Fire Headquarters at 8705 Peters Pike. The phone number that you would need is 898-2261, and they are usually available Monday through Friday between 8 a.m. and 6 p.m.
From burning permits to building permits, Vandalia's Department of Development and Engineering Services is gearing up for another busy spring as folks plan their home improvement projects for the year. Chief Building Official Ted Baker says residents need to know that many home improvement projects require a city permit.
Our pools, sometimes fences, sheds, and decks. A lot of it is the zoning aspects of them, just like on a shed. If the sheds are small enough, like 120 square foot, you don't need a building permit, you just need a zoning permit. And that helps make sure we're located in the right spot, that it's not in a utility easement or a drainage easement. If somebody puts one in a drainage easement, they could end up backing up water into the neighbors' properties and those sort of things. Fences are kind of the same thing.
In many cases, Baker says a building permit might not be necessary, but a zoning permit may still be required.
We look to see where they're located on the property, make sure it's not in setbacks.
Setbacks are an important consideration when considering where to locate things like a pool or a shed.
Setbacks are required on properties that you can't go too far to the side yard, you can't go all the way to the rear yard, and the front yard has the same type of a thing.
Baker says one issue cropping up more and more these days is the requirement for zoning permits for pools. He says most folks understand the need for permits for an in-ground pool, but often don't think about the required permit for one of those inflatable pools.
So if a pool is capable of holding 24 inches of water, then there's requirements for barriers to keep neighborhood kids from getting in and drowning and those sort of things.
Getting a permit is easy.
They can always call us. We've got the applications online on the city's website. They'll need to send in a drawing with them. Most people will just come into the counter, fill out the application, give us some drawings. And a lot of times it doesn't have to be too complex of a drawing, for sheds and decks and those sort of things. But a lot of times we can help them with the site plan. because we will need a site plan with the property that shows the house and where they're going to install the shed or whatever they're going to do.
Our next stop today is at the Vandalia Recreation Center, where plans are already underway for this summer's swim season. Recreation Superintendent Jeff Kreil says there are some changes in store for Cassel Hills Pool.
It'll definitely be a big change compared to what patrons are used to in the past. We're not going to have a concession stand this year, but what we will do is let people bring their own food in. I think a lot of people are going to really like that. They're going to have a lot more options, healthier options. They can bring coolers in, nothing glass, obviously no alcohol, but they will be able to bring coolers out to the lawns with their folding chairs if they like and bring their own meals.
Kreil says even though the concession stand will be gone, there will still be vending machine options for folks who don't want to pack a lunch.
Pepsi machines will still be there. We'll carry most of the foods that were in the concession stand previously. There will be hot items that we'll vend. We'll have microwaves there for hot items. We're still not sure exactly what items we'll have in there, whether it be hamburgers, Tostitos, or whatever it is, but there will be hot food item choices.
And while we're talking about the pool, you should know that the first day you can buy your season pass to Cassel Hills is almost upon us.
April 15th is the first day to get memberships. You come to the rec center front desk, they'll take care of you. We do have 100 memberships available for Butler Township people, not only for Butler Township, but also for rec center members can have that option too. So if you live outside of Vandalia and outside of Butler Township, you can also get a membership as one of those 100 that we have available.
This summer's swim season will feature some new programs, like a class specifically designed for the highly skilled swimmer. Also another program designed for some simple fun in the water.
Julia Maurer and Brett Burns are going to town on some new programs. One of them is called Friday Morning Fun, where it's, I think, an hour and 15 minutes Friday mornings. We'll be doing water games like water polo, water volleyball, water basketball, and then they'll be doing some land activities also. It's kind of like PE class in the water.
For the latest on Cassel Hills swimming pools or any parks and recreation programming, check them out on the web at vandaliaohio.org. Our website also a good first stop for the latest on a special shredding day coming up on May the 17th. Vandalia Assistant to the City Manager Julie Trick says the free event to the public arose out of a need the city had to safely dispose of sensitive documents.
The City of Vandalia receives a lot of paperwork throughout the year that has personal, private information on it. And we are very careful to dispose of that properly. So every year we bring in a shredder and we shred all of that personal information that we have received throughout the year. Last year we came upon the idea of inviting the public, if they have any private information that they would like to get rid of, they can bring it to the city building parking lot and we will unload it from their cars and deposit it in the shredder. They can stand and watch it be shredded if they'd like.
The shredding day is an easy way for residents to declutter their homes while at the same time guarding against your sensitive information winding up in the hands of bad guys.
Identity theft has become a greater concern for all of us, and that's why the City of Vandalia is very careful to guard all of our citizens and our vendors and our all of the personal information that comes into the city. And this is a great service for the citizens as well. It's just an value-added service that the City of Vandalia would like to extend to its citizens so that if they have things that they would like to shred, they can do that.
There's also a chance to remove some of the clutter in your home from old electronics that might be gathering dust. Trick says a component of the shred event will be an electronics recycling option.
A new feature this year that we are going to try is an electronic recycling day on the same day as our shred event. Televisions, VCRs, computers, other electronic devices that you need to get rid of, printers, anything that you have laying around junking up your house, we're glad to take it from you and take Goodwill Easter Seals will have a truck here to recycle it.
Of course, an event like this needs support from the community to make it work, and Trick says a couple of local companies are joining forces to make the day a free event to the public.
State Farm Insurance has partnered with us. Our local resident, Steve Reed, and our local agent on Perry Street, Doug McDermott, they have both decided to partner with us to sponsor this event. They come out on the day of the shredding and visit with our citizens and assist in unloading from the cars and so forth.
Once again, the free Shredding and Electronics Recycling Day will be held on Friday, May 17th from 9 in the morning until noon. It's going to be held at the City of Vandalia Municipal Building on James Bohannon Drive. If you have items to shred or to recycle, we look forward to seeing you out there. You'll also be welcomed a little later this summer at the City of Vandalia's Community Farmers Market. It's a new endeavor that's being supported by the city and by the Vandalia Butler Chamber of Commerce. The idea is to create a weekly farmers market through the summer months here at Seeger Park, right next to the Vandalia Senior Citizen Center. Market manager Brenda Rex says so far she has a half dozen vendors signed up to participate, but she says there's room for plenty more.
We'd like to have about 15 the first year. But we're really viewing this first year as kind of feeling our way, down a dark hallway, and hopefully we'll end up with a very vibrant, fun market for the Vandalia community.
The farmers market will be set up much like others you may have been to, with local farmers selling their locally grown produce. Now, one thing that will set this market apart is the day of the week it's being held.
We decided to do our farmers market on Friday evening. One of the reasons is we live in an area where there are a lot of farmers markets on Saturday mornings, so we didn't want to compete with them. And we also think Friday evening will appeal to people that will stop by on their way home from work, people that may want to bring the family out. And we want this to be a destination that provides our community with fresh produce and local products that they can enjoy during that weekend or throughout the whole week.
Rex says the farmers market is an amenity that area residents will support.
I think we're very lucky to live in a community that we have, a nice park like Seeger Park. I think the gazebo will play an integral part in the market. We plan to have entertainment and family activities all during the market. So we want the families to come out. The entertainment will range from acoustic guitar players to rock bands to jazz ensembles. So we're really looking forward to it. We want it to be a market that appeals to a cross section of our community.
So far, the response to the farmers market has been overwhelming, with people from throughout the area voicing their support. If you'd like to stay up to date on the latest developments, Rex says you can follow their progress on the web.
So we're on Facebook. The name of the site is Vandalia Farmers Market. We also have a website set up. That's www.vandaliafarmersmarket.com.
Now, it doesn't look like much now, but imagine this park on a warm summer day, music playing in the background, and produce vendors surrounding the park area selling their wares. If you can imagine that, you can understand why so many people are excited about this Vandalia Farmers Market. That's going to do it for this edition of Vandalia By The Way. I'm Rich Hopkins. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.